Hi everybody, Darian here with Pike Outside. I'm getting ready to go on another Bushcraft overnighter. I like to call this series Barely Bushcrafting because I'm definitely smoothing it. I'm not roughing it here. In fact, I'm well overpacked for what I'm doing, just a little overnighter. But I brought along a lot of new gear that I want to test out. And one thing I was determined to bring along with me on this trip was my brand new Exped Megamat 10. So you can see how beefy that is. I think this is 4.5 pounds. So this is not ultralight. But I have yet to sleep on it overnight out in the woods or even at home. So I thought this would be a great excuse to do it. I've got a real short hike in here. I think it's less than a mile down to the river where I want to camp. So we're gonna hit the road, get out of the sun, get into the trees down there, and go find camp. So come along with me. The undergrowth is thick back here. I've been here once before and I know I have to avoid kind of a swampy area. It's just up ahead here. I know I can cut around on the left, but I don't know about on the right. I'll have to check. I'm sure I'm kind of in Tick City back here. Tickville? No, wait, that's used. Shane Coffee said he used that one. Tick City will work. Tick Town. There you got the alliteration. Tick Town. We call it Tick Town. Although Tick City has the ass in it. It's the I there, but I've got an outfit treated with permethrin, and that's been pretty good for me in the past. One of the reasons I'm wearing long pants is to deal with this brush and to ward off any ticks. But man, it is lush back here. So back where these reeds are growing right there, there's a little creek. It originates way up there, not too far, just a couple hundred yards maybe. Springs right out of the ground as far as I can tell from the maps. I haven't seen the headwaters, so to speak. Just a little trickle, but it's just a spring. So it's just keeping this area perennially wet. And that feeds right into the South Loop River, I do believe. Bugs are bad. I'm going to apply a little bit more bug spray, and then we're going to wend our way down, kind of follow that creek, those reeds, try to get where it's not too brushy, and try to make it down to the river. I see a river, so that means we're getting close. Close to our campsite, close to hopefully a good crossing. Ah yes. think at one point actually the little spring goes underground again. Do you see that? It's gone. It should be flowing right through here. But I think it goes underground. I'm gonna try jumping across. Alright, here we go. Here goes nothing. I just missed a little leopard frog. I was gonna show you one. See, there it is. There's one of the hemp plants. Used to be grown commercially in this area. Now it's not so much. They're talking about re-legalizing it because they made it illegal. I think they were just having trouble distinguishing between it and marijuana, so they made it illegal to grow it, which is sad because it's a great crop. But anyway, I think it's coming back. It's just been growing wild all over the state since they made it illegal to grow as a cash crop. So it's like, what are you gonna do? Okay, I'm loaded back up. Let's head off that way down towards the river, and we will find a good spot. I know there were some sandy banks last time I came out here a couple months ago, so let's check that out. There are deer prints all over the place. See that? No human prints. So I think it's just me out here. Such a pretty little river. Some more. Those look like huckleberries to me. I don't know what they are though. I'm not gonna eat them. They remind me a lot of the huckleberries I grew up around out in Oregon. It's kind of a taller bush though. Aha. I think I have found the campsite. Ah, yes. This will be perfect. Whew. So this is it, ladies and gentlemen. If you watched my Barely Bushcrafting with a Buddy episode here a few months back, you've seen this place, but it looks so different now with all the greenery. Because at that point I think it just started kind of to bud, not really leaf out. The grass was still down. You had all these eastern red cedars were green, but it was pretty barren back there. This is kind of nice, got a little shade back in here. But we've also got a lot of mosquitoes, so I think I'm going to have to set things down, kind of figure out where I'm going to set up, and then maybe start a smudge fire to scare off some of these eaters. Maybe not even smudge fire, maybe just a fire. But we'll see. If they get bad, I can start putting some really green stuff on it. Okay, so I think I know what I'm going to do here. I'm going to actually use this little dead tree, which I think is really the only dead tree around. So I think I'm safe as far as widowmakers. And what I'm going to do is anchor there, and instead of going out that way, I'm going to come back this way. Kind of use the space that Jake was using last time. It'll give me a little bit more bank to work with in terms of like a fire, so I don't have to be quite so close to my fire. Because last time I put a little hole in my tent with my fire, so I'm going to try to avoid that this time. Looks like I've got plenty of line here, so that's great. Almost got a mosquito there. Yeah, a little extra there. You can kind of see. That's how I got it strung up. Let's see if we can make that work. I'm going to crack one of these while it's still cold. 10-barrel Apocalypse IPA from home state of Oregon. They're out of Bend. I think Anheuser-Busch bought them. They used to be a real small brewery, but now they're distributed more widely. Still a very good quality beer. And I brought a couple of these, so fun little treat. And I wish I could tell you how it tastes. It's pretty light colored IPA. The malt's there, but it's definitely a hop forward beer. They describe it as piney and perfectly balanced. That's probably about as good a description as you could want. It's a classic Oregon IPA is what it is. If you've had an IPA from Oregon, you probably have an idea of what this might taste like. The other classic ones I think of were from like Bridgeport. Widmer used to have a really good one. Deschutes Brewing, their IPA, which I forget which one that is, Inversion IPA I think, is kind of similar to this. So my buddy Dwayne, the Outdoors McGee, gave me some of this DuPont Tyvek. I'm going to use that as a ground tarp, ground cloth, kind of protect the bottom of my shelter, and then by extension my brand new Exped Megamat 10. Tyvek is great because it's hard to rip, it's hard to penetrate with sharp objects, it's very lightweight, it's waterproof. It's basically a perfect material for these types of applications, backpacking, bushcraft, things like that. It is plasticky, it's very synthetic, so you know, for those of you out there that hate plastic, that's one thing to be aware of. But otherwise, I love Tyvek, great material, and cheap, and plentiful in construction material. Okay. So for those of you who have followed my channel for a while, you've seen the shelter. one Tigris black orca makes it, and they sent it to me for free just to do a product review on. So I've already kind of discussed the things I like about it and things I don't like. It's not a perfect shelter, but I really enjoy camping it. It's fun. I wanted to bring it out today because there is a chance of a thunderstorm. I want to see how it does in weather like that. Every time I've had it out so far, which is really just one time overnight, it's been beautiful weather, just a little wind. So, gonna give it a shot here. It's a poleless shelter. Like I said, it's a poleless shelter. It's one person, obviously. Not super light. I think it's like 2.5 pounds, approaching 3 maybe. Which obviously you can get a much lighter shelter for one person if you're backpacking or something. Even with poles. I've seen them for under that with poles. So. Lightweight is not the design feature here. That's not what they're going for. The glory of this shelter, as I've said many times before, is porch mode. And you'll get to see what that is here in a second if you haven't seen before. The real trick with this shelter is setting it up symmetrically. So I'm trying a slightly different way this time. This is something that somebody gave me feedback on YouTube, and it's something it had occurred to me after setting it up for like the second or third time. I was like, you know, a ridge line with prusik knots that you can slide back and forth might help a little bit. Now that I have one dimension, one axis, that'll kind of help me know where to stake it out and all that. So I'm going to try kind of getting it staked out, see where it lands. I may have to, I don't know if I'll have to raise or lower the ridge line, but we can experiment as we go. Okay, so one thing I forgot about is this sand is just not going to handle the little stakes that it comes with. Just too light, not dense enough. So I'm going to go out and cut some dead cedar limbs down and chop them into stakes. Get them at least maybe around a foot long. This is kind of fun because now I get to try out, well, one tool that I've had for a while I love. This is just a Husqvarna carpenter's axe. I made that collar for it. Comes with that mask. But the new thing is this Agawa Canyon Boreal 21 saw. Yeah, right there. My parents gave this to me for my birthday here recently, so this will be a fun little piece of kit to try out here and see how it works. These dead little cedar limbs would be great for my other little new piece of kit. I'll show you later, but right now these lower ones are all dead. You can hear them crack and snap as you twist them. There's nothing going on, you know they're dead. So I'm going to cut it right there. And here we go with the Boreal 21. So you can see kind of how that unfolds. There's a joint there. It goes from horizontal to that angle there. And then down there's a little notch. It goes right around the edge here. It's an entirely metal frame except for
the handle portion and this, which feels like Kydex or something. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what it is, but give that a shot. Oh yeah, like butter, like butter. It's like a true buck saw, you know. It's very different than my silky saw. I love my silky saw, but when you're looking for a buck saw, this is a really good option for a packable buck saw. Okay, but disassembles exactly backwards, just like so. You don't even have to touch the blade if you don't want to and you're careful. Goes in just like that, and see that doesn't come out. A little bit of rattling if you really shake it, but it's not bad when you're hiking with it. Didn't seem to bother me anyway. Oh, smells so good. Okay, I'll make 5 more like that, maybe 6, and that should be plenty. Okay, so we've got a few steaks cut up here, and we're going to try staking it out. I may have to move things around a little bit, but I'm just going to start pounding them in and not go too deep yet. Okay, so far, this is looking better than it has before. Oh, there's a little toady. Ooh, hey toady. There he is. Hot man. Hot man of the jungle. Alright, so back to what we were doing. So far it's looking better than before. It's looking linear. I'm not putting too much tension on it. There's a couple sag spots, but I'm hoping those will kind of clear up when we put a little bit more tension on it and we get this little back stake in. This guy here. See that? Pull that out. Hopefully that'll help a little bit. So I will do some of the finer points here, and I'll check back in with you and see, let you see what the results are here. Okay, so this is the Backwoods Bungalow. Got it all pitched out. I talked to some kayakers who were kayaking by. Looked like a father and a mother and their daughter. And anyway, I got this all pitched out, and I think this is about as good as it's going to look in terms of angles. Let me take you around. I'll show you what it looks like. Okay. So you can see it's not perfectly taut, but I think it is secure. So I think it's going to keep me dry tonight, even if it does thunderstorm. Here's one of the prussics. It's got two stakeout points up here, one for the tent and then one for this little fly area, which I'm going to show you next. Same thing, these sides. Okay, let's try that. Okay, so next what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what I call the glory of porch mode. I'm going to get the bug netting inside down, so that's kind of sealed off. I'm going to set porch mode up, and then maybe I'll start setting up my bedding, and then we'll think about a fire. That's going to help with the skeeters. And then it'll also help me cook dinner here in a little bit. It's about 5:20 now, 5:30. So it's about time that we start thinking about that. It stays late right now till 9:30, I think. So no hurry or anything. But I'm sure I'll be getting hungry here in the next hour or so. So that'll be good. Plus, like I said, get these dang skeeters to kind of clear out a little bit. They're persistent little buggers. One thing that the lady told me is this river here is really shallow right now. You can't tell how deep it is. She said it's only a foot or two deep. So, I mean, looking at that, it could be 10 feet deep. You can't tell. I'm thinking about that. I'm like, that might be tempting to jump in here. Especially just as hot as it is, as humid as it is, as sweaty as I am. Maybe before bed I'll go jump in, kind of let myself dry off in front of the fire. Don't have a towel or anything. But then I'll throw on my bedtime jammies, and then we'll be in pretty good shape. I like how this night is shaping up here. I got steak, I got asparagus, I got some whiskey. It's going to be a good night, man. It's going to be real good. I've got a real good book to read, too. Okay. So I think I've got a couple branches that'll work. It might be a little bit tall, but we're about to find out here. I always cut them down. Start out with, I'm going to release this bug net and insulate this interior from bugs as much as I can. Kind of help keep some of the sand out too. You can kind of see, I don't know, Tyvek's pretty much right up against the back there. I might pull it back a little bit further, but that's kind of what I want there. There's literally a little loop right here. Literally a little loop. Another alliterative phrase. Like so. I can pull that back. Now I need to get a stake for that, but that's ready to go. on the inside, on the outside. These are buzzing around me too. Alright. That'll slide. Good old taut line hitch. Oh yeah, looks so cool. You guys got to see it from this angle. It looks so cool. So cool. All right, not a lot of play there, but I did get another taut line hitch in there, so a little bit of adjustment if we need. Let me show you what this looks like. Ah, I'm so excited. Okay, so here it is. Look how cozy that is. Look how cozy camp looks already. Even though I don't have my bed set up. Gorgeous, gorgeous place. It's boiling hot out here, super humid, but I'm so excited to sleep in this tent. You know, it is not the most technical tent. It's not the most practical tent. It's not the best designed tent, but it might be the funnest tent on the market right now. It's just fun. And I just feel cozy when I'm in it. I think I'm gonna sleep great tonight. I'll probably take it out of porch mode, put porch mode down, just to protect me from any thunderstorms that may roll in. But I'm gonna leave this up as long as I can. I'm gonna sit out, put a log right here, just kind of right there. And then maybe start a fire down here, down the slope a little bit, just to keep it a little bit away. And then in the morning, I might cook real close to the tent in a little stove that I brought. And I'll show you that stove later here. It's gonna be great. Okay, so the next step here is gonna be to set up camp, and then we'll get a fire going. If I set up camp, I just need to set up my bedding. Get my pad rolled out, starting to inflate. No sleeping bag this time, just a wool blanket, so that's exciting. But I'm gonna kind of get organized, and we'll get a fire going. Oh, this is gonna be awesome. Okay. Maxpedition, Exped rather, not Maxpedition. Exped Megamat 10. This is the single. They make a duo. Comes with a little inflation pump. Works great. Put the last 15 to 30 pumps into it. I've only inflated it once so far. They recommend storing it inflated, so just packing it down when you're going on a trek. This is a car camping mat. This is not one that you take on trips like this. Certainly not backpacking. But I'm going Lux, man. I'm smoothing it. Call me a fool, but I'm gonna sleep great tonight. Probably can't hear that, but it's already sucking in air. Okay, I'm gonna put away a few more things, and I think I'll just kind of let that sit there, let it inflate, do a little bit more organizing like I said, and then I'm gonna start a fire here. Probably start by collecting some firewood, clearing a spot, and we'll get going here. Here's my Yuko lantern. I've heard people disparage these. They don't give off a lot of light, but they give off just enough when it's pitch black out. I really like them. Okay, a couple more things before I get the fire started, before I do that process of getting the fire started, getting the firewood and all that. I'm gonna haul over a stump to sit on, and I tucked the Tyvek in under the tent. I didn't want any edges hanging out and kind of collecting any water that drained and then pooling it up underneath me. I'm on sand, so it should drain really well, even if you get a heavy storm. So this should be perfect, but I just wanted to keep you apprised of what I'm doing here. I'll grab that stump here. See? This is the stump I think Jake sat on this last time. And I'm gonna sit on it this time. It's old, rotten, it's wet. No good for firewood, but great sitting device. Oh yeah. A bunch of carpenter ants who are unhappy I'm moving their home here. That is camp. Man, that is camp. Can you guys see my sweet little pan here? It's a carbon steel pan. Let me show you that more later. My sweet little cook set that I made. Made that several months ago. It's good. I think it's just cottonwood. It's not like amazing birch or maple or anything. It's just cottonwood, but you can drink out of it. So there you go. So I've got a dead eastern red cedar. Don't know how dead it is, but it's obviously dead. So we're gonna clear off these branches and then cut into it and see how dry it is.
This axe is really sharp, really, really sharp. Came that way and I've kept it well honed. I've cut myself on it, sharpening it. Like I had the stone and I just glanced my, I think it was my thumb or one of my fingers, and just maybe a knuckle. Bled real good. It's really, really important to be careful with cutting edge tools. You know, one thing that I would say about getting into bushcraft or anything like that is any time you spend learning the right way to do things is going to be well worth it. I'm not an expert by any means. I'm not always the safest, but I definitely appreciate all the stuff that I learned, especially in the Boy Scouts, which reminds me I'm wearing my old Boy Scout hat. And you know, they made us go through the tote and chip process. It was basically like a little license that said you could carry a pocket knife and use a hatchet and saw and things like that. And I very, very much appreciated that. I still to this day remember the correct way to hand an axe is to hold the head like this and hand the handle to somebody. Not same thing with a knife. You grab the back of the spine of the knife and hand the handle to somebody on a fixed blade knife. Closing the knife, you close it before you hand it off. You're just basically trying to eliminate any possibility of cuts. Blade down, blade not pointing towards somebody. When you walk with an axe, carry it like that, so it's pointing away from you. So if you fall, the blade's gonna fall away from you rather than towards you. Axe masks are a great policy, and just always be aware of the direction you're cutting. So yeah, safety first, boys and girls. I'm gonna hate myself if I hurt myself now. Looks like a fool. Ugh. You see how I'm cutting behind me? I'm trying to, the striking area, the area I'm aiming for is not there in front of me. It's behind me. All right, let's start sawing it up. Axe mask back on. Hang it up in the tree, keep it out of the dirt. And the boreal saw. That's very dry. That's very dry. That should make real good firewood. I don't know what's going on with that wet part down there. I think it's just been rained on recently. But I think this is a well-dead tree. So we'll burn what we can. Off we saw. Off we saw. Mosquitoes. Another good reason to wear a hat. And that's pretty dry there. That's the whole wet section. We'll set those aside, set them beside the fire, and maybe they'll dry out and be just fine. The smoky fire wouldn't be bad right about now without all these skeeters.
So I'm not super experienced with a bow saw. It's been years really since I used one. Hold it up here and you're kind of pushing down automatically. And that causes it to bind, kind of slow down. Hold it down closer to the blade. That seems to work better. See that? I think this might be faster than the Silky, and that's saying a lot. Bigger, heavier, but faster and still really compact. It's not that much heavier. Maybe 1.5 times, maybe 2. I kind of doubt it though. So that's a good piece of kit. My folks gave this to me for my birthday. That Megamat 10, Megamat 10, that was my wife's birthday present to me. Pretty exciting. Kind of a splurge. Okay, so this is locust. It is on the branch, but it is dead. Starting about there, the branch dies. It's hard for me to tell how dry it is, but twigs are snapping pretty easily. Locust is a great wood for burning for heat. So I think it's considered one of the more efficient firewoods. You know, you got your hickory and your cherry and things like that, mesquite for cooking over. But I think it just as pure firewood, locust is supposed to be really, really good. I believe this is the honey locust. It's the one with the spines, I think. Is this the one with the spines? You got a couple around here. I don't see the spines on this one. But you can just tell from the leaves it's locust. I'll show you the one with the spines over there, but let's try cutting this, see what it looks like. No, it's not as dry as I'd like it to be. That's a bummer. Huh. That's a bummer. I think it's dry enough it'll burn, but not as dry as I'd like it to be. All right, well, I'm going to gather a little bit more firewood, drink a little bit more water, because I'm sweating like a dog, or a pig, or I don't know, I'm sweating like something. And then I'm going to get like some kindling size stuff, because I think this size stuff is going to be my fuel. And then we're going to start ourselves a fire. Some of this really isn't too bad. I think some of this is going to work good as firewood. Okay. Gotta stay hydrated. That's 1 liter down. Got another liter and 700 ml, I think. And that's gonna last me till like through tomorrow morning. So I'm definitely thinking of jumping in the river just to cool off at some point.
I do have a life straw I can use, but this water is pretty murky, so I prefer not have to resort to that if I don't have to. Let's go find some tinder and some smaller sticks, probably some cedar stuff, and then we'll have the makings of the fire here. Okay, here's my fire kit. That's really my 10 essentials kit, but I've got matches, lighter, tinder, water filter, compass, headlamp, all sorts of things in there, pear tape, paraquat. But I like to use my good old-fashioned fire steel. Then I brought some good tinder along with me. I try to gather good natural tinder when I see it. And I've got some of that here. Some fat wood, and critically, some cattail fluff. That catches spark well. Condor, bush lore. All right, here goes nothing, friends. Maybe it's just too dang humid, I don't know. That looks like something. Woo. Jeez. It wants to go. Never mind the humidity, it wants to go. That's definitely taking care of the skeeters. A little smoke, a little heat like that. It's amazing what difference that'll make.
Well, we got a fire going. I'm gonna grab some bigger pieces, throw them on there, let it kind of grow and burn down the coals a bit, and then I might go jump in the river before dinner, actually, because I don't feel that hungry yet. All right, guys, I'm gonna head out this way. Should be easier to get down to the water over there. And I'm gonna jump in, see how deep it is. Let's go. Alrighty. I don't think I'm gonna quite skinny dip. I'm just gonna go down to my underwear here and jump in. But as soon as I start getting undressed here, I better go for it, because these permethrin soaked clothes aren't gonna protect me once I'm nude, semi-nude. So let's do it. Alright, the trick is to catch them after they jump. They land, and while they're disoriented, you grab them. Fishing bait if you want. Today I spare him because I'm not fishing. Not fishing for fish anyway. Fishing for compliments. I see that? It's up to my knees right about there. Whew. That's nice. Surprisingly cold. And right there is about as deep as it gets. You go out further, another hump. Super shallow here. I think because the river's bending that way, the deepest part is right there. A lot like the Platte River that way. Super shallow. I think it might be as murky or murkier than the Platte. Let's go in here. Woo! Current is good. Let me show you something else cool here. So you remember me talking about that spring that came out of that field up there? Well, it disappears under the ground, comes back out. Here's where it comes back out. Somewhere back in there, you can't really see where it comes back out, but here's the water. It's a lot clearer. You can even see the clear water mixing with the murky water right there. Yeah. And this sand here is really silty, almost like got a little clay content. Whereas you go back upstream, kind of away from that, Has more sand, a little bit of gravel. So this is the raging South Loop River. I'm gonna dunk one more time. I'm at it. Does have a bit of a current to it. It's kind of nice. Seems like a good canoe kayak river. Probably a good kayak or stand-up paddleboard river, especially just because you don't want a deep draft on your vessel in a river this shallow. It's nice. It's really nice. I'm feeling much cooler. Whew. I'm gonna sit here for a few more minutes and make sure I chill out, cool down real good. I'm gonna get dressed and head back to camp. My coals should have burned down, and maybe we'll get some. I swear I didn't fart. I don't know what that was. I swear. I would admit to it. Yeah, we'll get some steak going, get some asparagus going over the fire here. Should be good. Should be real good. Whoa. I guess I'm just gonna float away here. Oh boy. Ugh. That's really gravelly in there. It's a pretty big rock right there. For central Nebraska anyway, it's a big rock. Okay, so this is what it's like to float in the mighty Loop River. Ready? You guys, the real full experience. That's what it's like. Just chilling, boys and girls. It's possible this might be even more fun in a kayak, but I doubt it. I think this is super fun. Camp's way back up there. Here I go, sloshing back. Look at that view. Look at that. Hard to get much better than that. Unless, I guess, I was in the mountains. Mountain stream with evergreen trees. Might be a little bit better than that. Not much. That's pretty grand. Alright. Back on land. Almost broke the bank there, so to speak. Alright, I'm going to get dressed here and hike back. Burned down to coals real good. But I think it's low enough that I want to get it back going again. And then we'll start worrying about the stake and all that. Well, I have yet to find a single tick on me. I don't want to call the permethrin a success too soon, too early, but so far so good. I'll show you while I'm putting my pants on what I'm carrying on me. I got my little multi-tool pouch here. Got my Leatherman Wingman. Great little tool. Love that thing. It's another gift from a family member. My sister and brother-in-law gave that to me here, I think, back at Christmas time. So got that one on that side. And over here towards the back, I'm carrying a little Ruger. This is their LC9, I believe. Yeah, it's LC9S. I don't carry it cocked. I don't conceal and carry it because I don't have a permit. I've never really been interested in that, but it's kind of fun to carry when you're camping, and I guess it gives me a little peace of mind. Not that you'd see a cougar coming. If you were to be eaten by a cougar, it'd just eat you. But I don't know, it's fun. And then last, I've got my Condor knife and tool bush lore. Got it on a little dangler. I made this dangler with one of those Castrom No. 3 dangler specific carabiners, and then I just sewed a piece of leather together. Just like so. I just made that recently, like literally last night, and so far I like it. And then this little lanyard, I don't love it, but I'm trying it out. I see a lot of guys use lanyards on their knives. And when I loop it like that, then it won't get pulled out. So say it catches on a branch and it pulls up, it's stuck around there, okay? Versus when it's not around there, the loops on a branch, it just pulls out and hangs on the branch. And maybe I don't even realize I've lost my knife. So if you are going to do a lanyard, I recommend making it that specific length so it barely fits around. It just kind of sits on the other side. So I am going to start to make dinner here, but first I thought I would show you the Megamat 10. Look at that. Fully self-inflated. Now if I want it a little firmer, I can use this bad boy. It's got a one-way valve basically. See that? This fires air up through there, and that fits the input valve. Now there's an output valve too. But what I'm going to do right now is, because I like it where it's at, I'm just going to close off the input valve, and we'll try that tonight. If I don't like it, I'll give it a couple of pumps on this, up to 15 maybe. I don't think it'll take more than that. Looking great. Let's start to get the dinner stuff together. I've got steak and bacon in here with an ice pack. Just a little Reflectix that I rigged up into a pouch. So we'll throw that on. In my internal compartment here for like a water bladder, I got my book, Deer Camp, which I'm really enjoying. Highly recommend that. I can't say I agree with 100% of the little theses that the author puts forth, but it's really interesting just to see the family dynamics and how much the land means to him. And I sure appreciate his environmentalism. He's got, I think, a really good perspective on what it means to be an outdoors person and an environmentalist. Both. So, recommended. Alright, and then also in there I've got my grill, which y'all have probably seen before if you follow me. It's the Great Grate, as Matthew Posa calls it, and my little cutting board. I'll use that to prep the garlic and the asparagus. Alright, I'll show you the coals. They've burned down. We'll get the steak going over that, and then we'll start thinking about how we're going to do the asparagus here. Well, in my effort to slim down my pack earlier today, I took my kitchen kit out and just took the essentials out of it, but I forgot my salt and pepper. Bonehead move. So, my food is going to be a little bit more bland than it might otherwise be, but you still can't go wrong with steak. I think I may cook my asparagus with some bacon, and that'll add a lot of salt and fat. It'll be nice. So let's just throw this bad boy right on there, and then we will burn the wrapper here. Oh yeah, look at that. That's just sirloin is all that is. Beef sirloin. So I literally gave my hands a sand bath, and then I'm just going to put some hand sanitizer on there. It's really high quality steak. I'm not worried too much about E. coli, salmonella, anything like that, but that feels sanitary to me. That's what I'm comfortable with. So that's what I do. Hand sanding. Okay. So I told you I was going to tell you what this is. This is a carbon steel pan. I think I mentioned that much. This is made by Bushbuddy. Bushbuddy's a company out of Alaska. Seemed like a really good company. They're kind of the original design of that shape of stove. Other stoves have come along and copied them. But it's all made in America by hand. If you're looking for
That particular style of gas fire stove, I highly recommend it if you can afford it. It's just a little bit more expensive than the competition. All done by hand, lightweight, super sturdy. Everybody I've talked to who's owned one has loved it, okay? So here's what it looks like. Here's the hot stand. Goes on there, it's got some vents. All these vents contribute to full gasification, okay? I'm probably not going to use that tonight. I might save that for tomorrow, but what I'm going to do is use this carbon steel pan tonight to make the asparagus in, also by Bushbuddy. Extremely lightweight, but super sturdy. Check them out, Bushbuddy. All right, I think I better flip that steak. They're getting a little sizzling. Oh, it's wanting to stick, man. Sometimes, that's just how that works. Let's do this asparagus. Start by getting a little oil in the pan. It's gonna get hot here. It's not even at all. Yeah, I think that's already too hot to hold, so. That's where we're going to put our asparagus and our garlic. I know that's not how it's pronounced. I have fun with words. Okay. I'm just going to chop off the woody ends. And since it's a small pan, I'm going to probably chop a lot of it off. Kind of look wasteful, but that's what I can fit in there. It'll cook down. And I've got a few little cloves of garlic. Add some flavor here. Oh, and before I get any further, I really ought to pull out a strip of bacon. I decided I was going to get some bacon, so let's do the bacon. This will add some nice flavor. Alright. Just some chunks of bacon there. Nothing to worry about, boys and girls. Chunks of bacon. Yep. I lost it. Going back in. Alright, that's a good piece of garlic. We'll just start it up there on top of the steak. Again, to add flavor since you don't have salt. How's that look? In my book, that looks pretty dang good. Pretty dang good. Alright, I'm going to start putting a few things away that we don't need, and we'll get back with you. And keep rendering this bacon and this garlic, as Joe Robinette says. Robinette. Joe Ro. Kind of like J-Lo, but Joe Ro. Oh! Alright, I'm going to let that sit for a moment longer and then we'll chow down. Alright. So there's the garlics. A little bit blackened, but I think those will taste pretty good. Maybe a little bit on the bitter side. I'm just going to throw the steak and the veggies and everything right on top of there. I'll let it chill out a little bit, and then we'll cut into it and start enjoying our dinner. Alright,
So I'm gonna finish it off with a little balsamic vinegar, which will add a lot of flavor too. A little acid. I like balsamic especially on asparagus, but it'll taste great with the steak there too. Handle's cool to touch now. You can see that bad boy. It's just fantastic looking. So let's cut into it and we'll chow down. All right. The garlic is a little burnt, a little bitter. Tastes good. I'll have a piece of this bacon here. Yep. Oh my gosh. Even without the salt, it's fantastic. I think that bacon adds just enough salt. Just enough. Especially when you're hungry like I am right now, I guess. Asparagus, friends, also known as asparagus. Alright, we should cut into... Oh, we got a bee friend or something. Get out of here, bee friend. Out. Let's cut into the steak and see how that looks. Okay, so that's well done. At least there on the end. But it's pretty. Sure is pretty. See how it tastes. Alright. Oh yeah. I could use a little salt and pepper, but oh yeah. Alright, friends. I'm not going to make you watch me eat, but it turned out really good despite the lack of salt and pepper. I'm going to chow down and I'll catch back up with ya. Pan has cooled down nicely. It's not going to burn anything now. Time for a nip of Black Bush by Bushmills. My uncle again gifted me this whiskey. I think the theme of this trip is gifts because I've got a lot of good ones lately. People have been really generous and kind to me. Oh, yeah. So, I know that Irish whiskey is not held in as high regard as Scottish whiskey, obviously. But that doesn't mean it's not really dang good. Let's cut off another piece here. You can just tell how sharp this dang knife is just by how it just slides through that piece of meat. Just crazy. Get out of here, bugs. I don't know what sort of bugs these are, but they don't seem to be interested in me so much as my food. This beef has such great flavor. Again, without the salt and pepper, it just still tastes fantastic. And if you happen to be in Nebraska or around Nebraska, or can get access to Nebraska beef, my buddy, Glade Smith, runs a company called Nebraska Beef Box. You can pick it up in locations around Nebraska. I think you can even order it for delivery on like dry ice or something. Nebraska Beef Box. Just the best quality beef you could ever ask for. And Glade Smith's a real good guy. If you do go and get some Nebraska Beef Box beef, tell him Darian Pike sent you. This little fork is so good for things like this. Dexter USA. I believe it's 100% USA made. Great little steak fork. I made a little pouch for it so it wouldn't poke through any of my gear. Just put a bit of leather at the end. It's not a pretty little pouch, it kind of shows my novice sewing skills, but works really good. Alright, I'm gonna finish cleaning up here and then I'll check back in with you. I think we're gonna hang out, read, smoke the pipe, drink a little more whiskey, and in a little while we'll hit the sack. I think it's already 8:30, so still very light out. I imagine it'll be light for at least another hour or so. So we'll hang out and see how tired I am and go from there. Thanks for hanging, guys. Alright, well, you guys can probably tell it's getting a little bit dark here. I've got my Yuko lantern here, candle lantern. I'll light it up, give me a little bit of light. I've got the light on my camera here, but I don't want to use that except for filming, so this should work good for non-filming purposes. There we go. And then you just inch up the glass around it. That's that. It gets hot pretty quick, so gotta watch out for that. So that'll give me a little bit of light, and that candle is supposed to burn for 9 hours total. I think I've only burned it for maybe an hour so far, maybe a couple. So there's a lot of light left in that candle, I think. We'll let it roll here and provide us a little bit of light. I'm not too deep in the bush. I can still hear the highway out that way. I was able to contact my wife. I only have like 1 bar of 4G, but I've been texting her and I just got off the phone with her, see how her evening is going. So next, I think I'm gonna just kind of chill here. Fire's burning low, but I'm gonna keep it stoked a little bit, and I think I'll smoke my pipe and hang out, just chill. I think I've shown you my other Irish seconds pipe. It's a Peterson pipe that's imperfect, and you can pick them up used or even new for relatively inexpensively. This one's just kind of a straight stem, big large briar bowl. I've got some think it's called Breakfast Blend or something. It's a Seattle Pipe Club tobacco. Might have a little of that plum pudding mixed in still, because that was another one I got from Seattle Pipe Club that I have been keeping in this little Ziploc. But both of those are really good if you're looking for a good kind of beginner friendly tobacco. I've been smoking pipes for years, but I still consider myself a beginner because I don't smoke often. I just kind of smoke periodically. Sure is nice to just be quiet and chill here, smoking a pipe. Listen to the sound of the river, the crackling of the fire. Alright guys, I got everything put away. It's about 10:20, 10:25 now. Forecast does not look like we're going to get much rain tonight. But nonetheless, I'm going to batten down the hatches, drop out of porch mode and get into cozy bed mode. Coals are burning down on the fire. I'm going to kick a little sand over it to kind of discourage it, but I'll just kind of let it be hot. Everything's wet and green, and I'm right here, so I'm not afraid of it starting a fire or anything. But we'll do that, and we'll jump in bed.
Okay, so we're out of porch mode here. I'm just gonna climb in and get dressed for bed. I'll check back in with you.
So I'm in bed now. I've got the mattress inflated to kind of where I like it. Let's see if we can take a look at how thick this sucker is. It's a thick one. Got my little candle lantern burning. Give me some light. Kind of got a mess all around me. Naked legs. Got some long johns and extra socks, clean extra socks I can put on here if I get cold. And I'm lying on this wool blanket here, and I'll just throw that over me. I've got half underneath me and half to the right of me, and I'll just throw that over in the middle of the night when I get cold. But right now it's still like 74 degrees. Very, very cool. So I'm kind of thinking that I will appreciate the nakedness of it all right now. I'm gonna do a little bit of reading and then hit the hay. Thanks again, everybody, for joining me. I'll catch y'all in the mañana. La mañana? La mañana. Well, good morning, my friends. This looks pretty good, I have to say. This pad is super comfortable. It's almost bed-like. It's almost like sleeping on a bed. And for that, I think it's very much worth it. I did have to wake up a couple times in the night, go pee, and I guess just sounds in the woods woke me and things, but the birds are chirping and the woodpeckers are pecking, and I hear the cattle lowing off in the distance. So apparently there's a ranch over the way, not too far. It's kind of a little wild area I'm in. I think it's less than 100 acres, or maybe right around there. I'm not sure exactly. So it's kind of spread out in a couple sections. So I think I'm close to some private land out here. But anyway, it rained in the night. You can see the evidence of that there. And I seem to have stayed quite dry. I can tell that condensation is a little bit of an issue, but not too bad. I mean, pretty high humidity. I don't have the ventilation flaps open. I wouldn't want that, with any chance of rain, because then you have to close it from the outside. That's one of the design things I don't like particularly. But I stayed dry and I stayed cozy. So I think I did some additional damage to my tent. Notice that little hole in the screen. I think that was because of this Yucca lantern. I think it just swung out and bumped it or something, or came in and made contact when it was burning and hot. And it is stinking hot when it's going, so one other thing to be aware of. But again, been hard on this tent so far. I've repaired it at least once, repair it again, and keep using it because it's fun. Alright, well, I am gonna get up, put a few things away, and get some breakfast going. So it's a little after 7, just a few minutes after 7. So
think this rain has given us a temporary reprieve from the mosquitoes. But I did see one around here. I'm gonna get my tent back in porch mode just in case we get any more little showers this morning. Don't think we will. Looks like we got a break. But we'll do that, and then we'll get the stove going. We can take a proper look at that Bushbuddy and see how that works as a twig stove. I'll do my best to find some dry fuel to fire it up with. Alright, let's go find some twigs for some firewood. I'll check back in with you once I collect them here. There's that great little field back here. Up there somewhere is where that spring originates. You can't see it very well, but there's a pretty big hill there. Probably a couple 100 feet elevation higher than we are right now. I think we're about 2,500. You can kind of see the storm off in the distance. It's really gray out there. That should be approximately west, so that kind of bothers me. I mean, it's just a possibility for more rain moving in. So I shouldn't probably dilly-dally too much. But I just wanted to come take a look at that, show you all. I remember the lighting being fantastic back there. And it really is, even this morning. Great little woodland. Okay, so now I'm gonna have to figure out what this is. Whenever I see it, I'm calling it Eastern Red Cedar. See, here is a more mature version. But over here is what I think the actual Eastern Red Cedar is. See that? Critically, that's the difference, okay? But I might have those two flip-flopped. Maybe one's juniper and one's actual cedar. I don't know. I'll have to look that up when I get home. So I'm calling that the Bushcraft Kelso, or even like the Northwest Primate way of curls, because I think I've seen them both do it. Definitely Bushcraft Kelso. I'm sure someone else came up with it, but that's who kind of showed me the technique on Instagram. And I think I'm actually producing finer curls this way. I'm not a particularly good curl maker, but I think these are turning out pretty fine, and therefore I think they'll catch real good. So, give that a shot here. Alright, here's our friend the Bushbuddy. I'm not going to screw around with the ferro rod this morning, I'm just going to light her up. Here's my other feather stick using the Kelso method. Bushcraft Kelso. Alright, so I got a legit fire starter. I've got a paper towel. So we're not going to mess around here. We're just going to do our darndest to get this thing started, and hopefully it starts, because everything's so stinking wet and humid and I'm struggling here. Alright, looks like we have fire going. We have some thunder in the distance. Let's get some water on. Just enough for oatmeal. Alright, while this is heating up, I'm going to start packing stuff up just so I can be as ready as possible if rain does decide to move in. Can't believe it with that blue sky out there, but this is Nebraska after all. Alright, got a boil. My haste to leave behind extras last night. I was packing. I left my salt and pepper. I also left the spoon. Can't believe it. Can't believe it. Good thing we are making oatmeal the squeeze way, or the packet way, so that I can squeeze it out. Alright, so while that is hydrating, let's make some coffee here. This is another new toy that I bought. A Bialetti Moka Express. Old-fashioned coffee maker. I think they look super cool. But this is actually the first time I'm going to drink any coffee out of it. We'll find out how good of a job it actually does. Supposed to grind it pretty fine and then fill up this little chamber here all the way to the top pretty much. Don't overflow, don't pack it down, but make it nice and full and kind of flat like that. You all see that? So now this chamber actually comes out. Like so. And this internal chamber here, that's where the water is going to go. And you just fill it up right to this valve right there. Oh shoot. I have to play some tricks to get it. I have no place to set it down. Right there. Okay. Doesn't take much. It makes it very intense, almost like espresso-like coffee. I'm just sipping it down to where it needs to be as far as the valve level. Alright, and then that goes right in there. And then you grasp the canister itself, not the handle. Twist it, make sure you thread it correctly. And once you got it kind of where you like it, you're good. You can put it right on. And see how perfect it fits on the Bushbuddy? Oh, it's gorgeous. Okay, we're hydrated. Still very hot, so I don't know if I can quite eat it all yet. Trader Joe's instant oatmeal, apples and cinnamon. I think this is Trader Joe's. Pretty sure. That's good stuff. I'm going to squish it around a little bit and mix up the sugar and cinnamon a little bit more. We'll know when this is done. It'll start like bubbling. You'll hear it kind of boiling, and then eventually it'll just kind of stop. And I think that's basically when you're done. Hear that sound? That's the sound. Looks like it's already done it. I think that's done. Happens quickly. Yep. That's it. So you can see my beautiful espresso-esque beverage there. Did I ever get this on here? So there's my homemade kuksa. See how this looks. Make sure there's no sand in there. It's like the two are made for each other. Alright, I'm going to let this cool down a little bit, and then we'll get to drinking it. Still very hot, you can tell by the steam. Oh, it's got really good flavor. Very clean, a lot of acid, and then just because of the coffee itself, kind of dirt at the end and the roastiness. It's like a Honduran single origin from my favorite coffee shop, Calico. Gotta keep Honduras Honduras in your prayers. All that region, Venezuela obviously, El Salvador, going through a lot right now. Oh yeah. Alright, well, I think I will finish my coffee up here, get everything packed up, and then I'll check back in with you and we'll hit the trail.
Figure out what these berries are. They look delicious, but I just don't know. Scenery around here is just superb. Love it so much. Oh, that's hard to make it through. There's some more of those raspberries or thimbleberries, or whatever they are. Oh, here we go. It's black. And that one's going to be edible. It's like a black raspberry, you can just tell by the shape. A ton of seeds, but really delicious. There's a few more out here. Yep. Oh yeah. That's really good. All right, time for some bushwhacking. All right, well, I am taking a very different way back, following a deer trail, and this is a good way to get yourselves lost, boys and girls. But I know I'm going generally the right direction, and the only thing I can do going too far this direction is run into the road, and that will just lead me right back to where I parked my car. So instead of bushwhacking that, I'm going through the woods because there's some deer trails through here that are really clear, and I think it's going to work out well for me, but we'll find out. Okay, well, I think I've met up with a deer trail I took through here, so I'm going to start heading out that way. I can can see the clearing, so we should break out of the woods pretty quick. And then once we get out of the woods, we'll take a left, roughly south, and head back to the parking lot. Nice big leaves on this tree. You could use those to play Adam and Eve right there. Isn't that a Bob Dylan song? One of his dreams. The end of the world dream. He says, let's go play Adam and Eve. That's salacious. Salacious. That means he wants to repopulate the world with this woman. How base. How gross. How cretinish. These are the deer beds. Grass is all trampled down. Alright, here's our clearing. Catch up with you guys back at the car. Alright guys, man, it's been a blast. I had a lot of fun. It's just so good to get out in nature. It's a lot of hard work, you know. I sweated, I got dirty, got stinky, mosquitoes. But that scenery and just the peacefulness of nature, it's just so nice. But yeah, like I said, thanks for joining me. I hope you guys had fun. Please hit the like and subscribe buttons, as well as that little bell. If you hit that bell, it'll give you notifications. And as always, be kind, be adventurous, and just like your old Uncle Darian, keep barely bushcrafting. That's the way to do it, guys. It really is. Bring along a Megamat Exped 10 if you got one. That is the bomb. Thebomb.com. Check them out. Do it now. Why are you still listening to me? Close the browser, open up a new page. Exped, Megamat Duo. I'm not sponsored. They're just that good. Bye, guys. Oh, take a load off. Take a load off and take a load for free. GoPro, stop recording.